this? Has the practice got the dashboard already?
We've not got. So I think that's just sort of whether we were going to do it or not was our plan of action, I think.
Right, okay. Yeah. So
And
there's two sections to this. The first one is having the access to the parasite forecast. And when Janet comes back on, I'll get her to tell you the price of that.
yeah,
So the parasite forecast is what you can see. Can you see my screen?
yes, perfect, thanks. Yeah,
Yeah. So this is the dashboard, and you've got the nematovirus forecasting maps on there, the blowfly forecasting maps, and then the fluke
yeah,
when that becomes relevant. So when you enter with an amount that you can pay, which I've forgotten what it is, which Janet will tell me in a minute,
yeah,
you can enter, I think, up to 100 or 300. Depending on how much you pay, farms onto this directory. And so this directory is the farmers directory here, which is what I'm going to click on.
yeah,
Just take a look. And you can put all your farmers into there with their emails and and you'll actually enter their postcode data.
yeah,
And so when they then get a parasite forecast, it is relevant to their square in terms of where the nearest weather station is, where that forecast has been created from. So it's
yeah,
quite it's very sort of farm and region specific.
yeah,
And the squares are measured to 40 square kilometers. And so the map reflects that.
yeah,
So you've got the ability then to every month automatically generate a parasite forecast that is sent out to all of your clients. You can do it manually, or you can set it to automatic.
yeah,
So I set it to automatic just so that I don't forget. And it will go out every month. So if I click on a forecast, just to give you an idea of what that looks like. When you set it up initially, you've got the ability to put some email text in there. So you
yeah,
might if you're doing it manually, you might want to say heads up on the forecast, fluke is starting to become a problem or whatever. Or you can just set a general message which would say, well, whatever you want. If any problems, contact me, or for sheep or sons, max for cattle, whatever,
yeah,
if you want to. And then it will then automatically send a forecast, cattle and sheep, depending on what you've registered your clients as, and an
yeah,
alert as well that's relevant to the time
yeah,
of year. So the forecast for June when it comes up. Sorry, my computer's a bit slow. There we go. So can you see that there?
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
I see.
so that's the sheep parasite forecast for June, and it's got flock health on, so it's got branding on. So there would be Farm Vet Solutions. At
Yeah,
the top would be your name and number, or an email, whoever you want on there. It might be the practice email, or it could be, whoever the practice number. And then it's got, based upon the map that you can see there, is the square to which farm you've sent it to which square on the map it's relevant to, which is quite useful. And then it's got whatever for that month. So it will have nematovirus, it might have blowfly, and then it will have other parasites, whatever is relevant, with links to the NARDIS page for information on quarantine or treatments or SCOPs and so on. And then a little risk factor thing at the bottom.
yeah,
So that goes out automatically monthly, which I think is quite really useful.
yeah.
Well, Maggie's joined.
Andy. Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Maggie. Just get out of this. And then there's one for cattle as well, relevant to cattle, and then there's the alerts. So Janet, can you just remind me, if you've got this part of the service, which is the dashboard and the directory and the forecasts, and also you've got you're able to see the fact sheets. So when this goes back up on here, different forecasting alert. Yeah, and you can get onto the fact sheets as well, can't you?
Yeah.
Here, Rebecca, there.
Oh,
Click
yes,
onto that, and that takes you to all the different downloadable fact sheets that you can send out if you'd like, or you can print off for meetings or whatever. You've got access to that as well.
And they're also personalised with their
yeah, and
logo.
again, they've all got your farm practice logo on. So I think for your clients, it looks very specific to what you might have written, which it's what you would say, but we've written it and it's all in one place. And it kind of just saves. It's quite time saving, and it shows that you're kind of contacting them and that they're in the loop without you having to do much. Obviously, apart from pay from the service. So Janet, just remind me how much it is, because I've forgotten this part.
Different bands. To put 100 farmers into farmers directory is 350 plus that for the year. Then it goes up to being able to put 200 farmers in is 550. Then up to 300 is 750, and then we have the maximum one we have is allowing 500 up to we give you an extra 300 farmers, and that's £1,000 a year plus that. And then of course you've got the planners on top of that.
And for permission on there, do you have to ask permission from them? Do they, from that level, or is
Put
it
your farmers on?
Yeah.
No, you can just because you've already got their details, you'll have been through all the GDPR stuff. So once you've put your farmers into the farmers directory, I would set up the account for you, send you your login details and a password, and we ask that you immediately change it, the password, so that your account is totally confidential to your practice. It's just the equivalent of you saying having a spreadsheet, you know, with all their details on. So yeah, you don't have to ask their permission.
Yeah, I suppose it's in place of you sending out your own information.
We just worked with other things, and there's been various links needed and things signed up, so that was just sort of managing that side of it. So, and it just sort of, when you have to get more and more things signed to get access, then
I know. Going back to just on the farmers directory, I forgot to say you don't have to do that manually. You can do that. You can import them via an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So you can do it all at once, which is quite useful.
Yeah.
Maggie, are you there, Maggie? I'm just going to check where she might have got to, if she wanted me to go over anything. Okay. Come in if you want me to go over anything. Right. Okay. So that's that section. So so not a bad amount of money, I don't think, actually, for that service. And it's been updated. Like, we are sort of writing and researching those fact sheets all the time, so trying to put out the best, most current information as well, so that's quite useful. And sometimes, sorry, go on.
I was just wondering, sort of update wise, of developments and best advice, but no, that sounds good.
They're quite good, you know, if you've done a farmer meeting, and then you can put, or if you've had a chat on farm with the farmer about Coxie or something, you can then send them out a fact sheet, which saves you having to write all your notes out again. And then, I mean, and if there's anything on there, we're always open to people contacting us and saying, we're seeing more of this, can you mention that? Or, you know, we very much want to get the best information out. So if there's anything that you wanted to query or talk to,
homunculus alerts on it, or is that something that would
Homunculus is on the parasite forecasts. That's being looked at again now. So how we can better predict that. Do you see Homunculus where you are?
Just seen the last 2 years, real big push it really. And yeah, sort of a bit more mapping of the farms, that sort, trying to look at. And then I think it goes, you know, 1 year you'll see that, and then no fluke, isn't it, really, just because of conditions. So it's sort of that struggle, but I don't know if it's getting worse now and sort of surviving in milder, and a bit more of the overwintering. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Few farms with ewes with high worm egg counts coming in at this time around already. It's just getting it speciated, really. I just had a few issues with the lab to get that confirmed, but one came back sort of 9% homunculus, so just sort of it's there, but what sort of
it's there, it's not in huge, that's quite a low.
It's just later on, but would it be better sort of, I don't think they've done any treatment or management for it previously, so what's that sort of impact long? So
actually this is where using the subject, but then this is where using the FAMCHA chart is quite useful.
Have
you seen the FAMCHA charts?
No, I think
the mucous membrane colour
ones, isn't it?
Sorry, say again.
Yeah, no, I was just working out, in my head what they were.
yeah. I know you like FAMCHA. I know that word. When have I heard that? And if you come to the Sheep Vet Society conference in September, because I'm just putting the programme together, we're doing one on detecting the impacts of homunculus and using the FAMCHA charts alongside fecal egg counting. So it's so we're looking at mucous membrane colour. Because in Southern Hemisphere, that's what they use as a predictor to treat, rather than fecal egg count. Well, they do it alongside fecal egg counts and morphology, but actually they use the mucous membrane colour as a predictor. Now I don't think we do that enough here, so I certainly would feel a bit nervous about using it, but I'm going to try again this year to determine who to treat. Do you know what I mean? That's one way of doing it, and as we're talking about it, so as those things come together, we'll then I certainly will make sure we'll get that into the NARDIS fact sheets going forward, because it's really useful.
There's just one that I've seen. What have I been here 7 years in Leicestershire, and it's just hardly at the start, and now feel quite common now, really. And I know we've had hot, but it's just sort of just one that we've talked a bit about to farmers, but probably haven't done enough on, to be honest. So it'd be interesting.
I expect in the next 2 weeks following this weather, we'll see a massive surge in homunculus. Because of how hot it was, and then that moisture. So I guess it's be aware, isn't it? Clinical signs, farmers, and so on. Sorry, we digress.
I know.
Can I just interrupt a sec? Can I just interrupt 1 sec, just to show Becca and Maggie that in the reports tab, that's where you can see everything that's gone out. So it's so because at the beginning of the month, the parasite forecasts go out to sheep or cattle farmers, whichever, or both, if they've got both species, and then that records what's been sent out and who it's gone to, just so you know.
Brilliant.
Okay. Right. Okay. So if any other questions, just interrupt me. Okay. So the second sort of part of this demo is looking at the parasite and vaccine planners, parasite control and vaccine planners. So they are separate to the dashboard. So they're paid for separately, and they're bought in bundles. And Janet, correct me if I am wrong.
Bundles of 10. Bundles of 10 for £100 plus VAT.
So a bundle of 10, so that's 10 farms for £100. So it's £10.
Do you need the dashboard to do the bundles?
Yes.
Okay. So this additional on top of the that's fine.
So when you've got, if you've then bought some bundles, you can then assign the planner to the farmers that want them or you want to work with them. So in your farmers directory, you just where do you do it?
Just select the mine there.
Is it on the other one?
No, so your planners appear, if you buy them, they appear on the dashboard at the bottom.
Oh yeah, sorry, that's it. Go back to the dashboard. Oh, they're further down here.
Yeah.
If you buy a planner, sorry, down this page, they then appear down here at the bottom. That's it. And so then you can have either the vaccine ones, or the parasite ones. It's £10 for the vaccine ones and £10 for the parasite ones. But within that is all the age ranges. So it's, you know, all age ranges of sheep, lambs and adults, and same with cattle. So it's not extra amounts for extra age ranges.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So I'll just show you then a parasite one for lambs. And it comes up. Computer's on a go slow. Bear with. I think this weather's making my internet go funny.
I think it's making everything go funny. We're thinking about it.
It's doing something.
Great.
Right, lamb. Okay. Bear with me. Okay. So this is an example of a parasite control plan for lambs. So initially, if you have your farmer's at the top here, farm name, the weather station that's local to them, etc. Then for a moment, skip out the resistance detail section and look at this wheel. So this wheel is a bit overfacing when you look at it. And really, personally, I just use, this is where we input the management things that is happening on the farm. And I then demonstrate them to the farmer and to myself by using a list or a PDF form. So I'll show you what I mean in a moment. So when you start using this planner, if you click on the open menu, here you've got the whole sort of list of management things that you'd be going through on a farm. So if you're talking parasite control, here when you're chatting to the farmer, you can be adding in when they start lambing and finish, when they might wean, when they might shear, housing and scanning and so on. And when you put the dates in for these, you can either put the actual date or a provisional date. And then that little tag appears on this wheel, which this is more of a process I kind of find in my mind to go through rather than looking at this actual wheel, because it can be a bit daunting. But you go through all the different things. So then you can add in what quarantine treatments they might use as part of their plan. So you've got all the different options of drugs there, and testing. Then you may look at the pasture. So we're able to sort of map in that month what kind of pasture they've got available, whether it's clean, contaminated, or possibly contaminated, which can be quite useful for your homuncus when you were talking about trying to map certain areas of the farm. This could be quite useful from that point of view. Then you've got the different worming when you might do that, so you can actually add in when they might do their first nematovirus worming treatment and what with. That will then go on to here. Same again with worm control. You might be adding in that you're doing some weighing or fecal egg counting, and when they might do that, or a fecal egg count reduction test. And then we've got similar for fluke, so fluke control, and you've got ectoparasites. So you've got the whole sort of parasite management plan on there, and then for cocci as well. So all those interventions, you can actually, you use that list to go through, I suppose, and add them onto and then they get added onto this wheel. So looking at that, it's congested.
Yeah.
What I find actually then useful is we can then display it to the farmer and print it out for ourselves using this list form here. So if you click on that to switch the view, you can then see in this list form the month and what's happening in that month and what's been treated, whether they've been weighed, and so on. You can delete those things if they didn't happen. You can edit them if you actually want to put a note in there. So maybe if you're looking at Homuncus, you could actually write up in the top management group, use fecal egg count 2000, what their weights were, we suspect, you know, and use that as a clinical notes, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then that all gets put onto this list version of the, I suppose, the yearly calendar and when they do each things. So you might make a note for group B1, you might want to say, use this year fecal egg count reduction test, yes, next year in your notes or something. So all that conversation, anything that you've had, you can come back on here and stick it against that intervention. And then when you want to share this with a farmer, you can click on the PDF and put it in the PDF format. When it works. I did this last time. Just a minute. Oh, there we go. I'll open in a minute. She says confidently. Oh, there we go. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then you'll get a PDF out of what your parasite control was for that year for those lambs. It'll be branded with your practice and so on. And then you'll have whatever I'll go back to the screen in a minute. Whatever performance parameters you put in there, relating to the lamb mortality, lamb rearing percentage, etc. And then it will pull up any resistance checks that you've done throughout the year with a fecal egg count profile of when they did them,
yeah.
You know.
That, because it's just sort of when you look at it on clinical notes,
yeah,
that's sort of it's just visualization, isn't it, a lot of the time?
Yeah, and you get lost in I get lost in my notes sometimes.
Yeah.
So when I've got everything in a date form stuck in one place, it's actually a lot easier.
And it's just kind of tying in when that was sampled, that for that, and which group. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then that wheel that you saw this is here in list form, which I find a bit more useful in terms of notes and anything that you might want to add in. Everything that you noted down on the list form on the other page will then appear in here. So here you might have 1st of June in the notes, you might have written fecal egg count was this, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's anything that you've put in there. So that, it's really useful. So then you can then share that with a farmer. So this share button here, you can send it as an email or you can send it as a link.
Yeah.
Which again is quite useful. Sorry, I didn't mention the performance parameters. So that is this section here. So you're able to put in all the details. So from a flock health planning pathway point of view, that's needed, and you can update this at any time. So it's very useful to be able to stick that in and it all be part of that document. If you click on the info, it tells you what that calculation was and so on. So that's
extra.
Yeah.
Good.
And then if you wanted to notify the client of anything, when you change anything on here, they automatically get a text saying something's been changed on the planner. If you want to specify what that was, you can type in here, added in latest resistant checks and send it and click yes, and it sends that directly to that individual farmer.
And they don't have access to the dashboard. It's just all sort of report form that we send to them.
I think so. Janet, just confirm that.
So if you've assigned a planner to your farmer and you've sent him the link that Philippa's just shown you, you can send a link. He can view that planner himself. And he can actually, any actions that you've asked him to do, he can go in and tick them to say, I've done that. So you'll know he's done it. Does that answer the
Okay,
question?
like this here, like on
Yeah.
there.
So he can go in and tick that, or
So
yeah.
have a login, or they have a login then, or how does that? Or
No,
is it?
because you've assigned it to them.
Yeah.
On the dashboard, we'll show you how you can assign a planner. So on the dashboard, you've got your list of planners that you've bought, and then you need to assign them to the farmer that you want to work with. And then you'll work on the planner with him, either on, you know, back in your practice or with him, sit down and do it with him. And then once you've done that, he'll have the link. So, but we understand that not very many farmers probably would look at the planner there, but that's why we've introduced this messaging system. So if you want him to worm or something, you'll have to put the action on the planner, and he'll get the SMS about 5 days before you want him to do something, saying, I want you to worm next week, or with
Yeah.
Has that explained it?
Yes, that has. Yeah, thank you.
So he can't change anything on there. He can just kind of tick that he's done something.
Yeah.
In a way. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to show you. I know I'm talking sheep here, but the same principle is available for cattle as well.
Yeah.
I'm just going to show you a sheep one. I'm just going to show you still. So with this is a vaccine one. So again, from a flock health planning pathway point of view, this will carry the same use, I think. So you put all your performance parameters in, which will be this, you know, the carryover from your parasite one, I think. And then you can go through the management thing again. So on here, sorry, let's move this out of the way. You can put in some similar sort of things, normal management. You can put in all the vaccines that they use and when they should be using them and so on. So we've got the whole list of vaccines. And then also you can add in certain disease testing. So you might be doing thin new screens, or you might be doing mydivisner or Ionis, etc. And then that again comes up in the list form, where you can add notes for certain groups. So it is a flock health plan, really, isn't it? With all the information on there and clinical notes as well. So, which can then be printed out or sent again. And then, so I'll just click on that list form. So, for example, same thing again here. And then if they want to go in and tick when they've done it, they can do, but they may not do. And then you can add in notes, why you might be doing testing, which groups to test. And then again, that can be clicked on and it'll go into a PDF format. I'll just show you. Hopefully your computer's not as slow as mine. It'll come in a minute. Oh, there we go. Okay, and then that would be your vaccine one with whatever priorities you've added for the farm on there, and notes that you've typed in about them. Your parameters are there again, and then another plan for your vaccine control and testing. So really on a couple of A4 sides of paper, you've got quite a lot of information that hopefully they'll read, because I know they don't read. They just don't read masses and masses of stuff, do they?
You've got to sort of consolidate, isn't it? And it's your key point to sort of look at.
Yeah.
And so just with the access to the dashboard, we've got multiple vets and people that would use it. So is that one access for all, or how does that work?
So the dashboard, I would set up the account and send you a username and a password, and that everybody who wants to look at the dashboard would need to have that.
Yeah.
And we do recommend that you put, your large animal vets into your farmers directory, because then they're aware of everything that's going out.
Yes.
Because every alert that goes out, and the cattle and sheep parasite forecast, they are tailored to a 40 square kilometre where each farm is. You'll see that when you put a farmer in, they've all got different numbers, and that corresponds to grid squares. So everything's very specific to that. Yeah, you'd all need the same login.
Yeah. No.
If you want to, if you look on the left-hand side, you see that message board. If you wanted to send a message out to all of your clients, you can put it in there.
Yeah.
So that might be a widespread message, like we're having a meeting. You could even advertise that you're having a meeting, or everyone put in your scanning figures or whatever, and you can just edit that by means of a text message and then just save it, and it'll send to everybody.
Everybody who has a planner, that is, not everybody in your farmers directory. Yeah, just everybody who has a planner.
Yeah, everybody that has a planner, sorry. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Which can be quite useful. And then again, the disease fact sheets are on here, which can be read and sent out with your branding on.
Yeah.
And then also there's some risk assessments. If you wanted to send the farmer, or they can link to them as well, a particular risk assessment, if you've had a chat about whether they should vaccinate for abortion or whatever, you can send these out, and it sort of shows what the risks might be to that, for that farm. So tons of info there, isn't there? Oh, so log in, see if it'll log in. It might not let me. Oh yeah. And then that is this, it's CPD. They can get CPD points for doing this as well, can't they, Janet?
Yeah.
I think
it's like a question and answer. You go on to the start and it says, do you do this on your farm or do you not? And then if they say they don't, it will tell them whether it's high risk that they're not doing it, or low risk that they are doing it. And at the end you get a printout showing you exactly what is high, medium and low risk on your farm that you need to maybe address.
Okay, right. I'm sure, like most things, when you start using them, you realize you'll have more questions.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's probably, better not to overwhelm you.
Well, I mean, we've enhanced this service considerably since we sort of launched it, and a lot of the enhancements have been from vet practices using it and sort of saying, well, could you consider doing this? Could you do this? And we keep sort of enhancing it, don't we, all the time? We've had some really good. That's why it's automated now. Oh, actually, Philippa, at the end, can we just show that automation on the dashboard and how you can
I was just going to show you, Rebecca, resistance. If you were to do a resistance check, so if you had done a fecal egg count, so the wormer treatment check that's required by pathway, well, this could actually go in there. So this is when you've actually got some information in, this will show you when you did the test, product used and so on. So that would be a list of the results that have been done throughout the season or the year, with some notes if you've written any notes in there. When you want to add a result, if you're checking roundworm, for example, this is how to do that. So you would put in the date that you did your pre-treatment check, and you put in your count of worms, you put in what you were checking, which would be, say, strong isles. You'd put in your product, say you're checking levamisole, and then you'll put in the date that you rechecked it, and then put in what the count was, and then that will generate a percentage change and give you a colour based upon the likely accuracy of resistance. It will encourage you to do a drench check to check for that actual test whether things were right, like the product was in date and so on, collected at the right interval and so on. For your information, you can add notes in there if you want to, and then it should, and then you can add notes on the bottom as well about it, and that will all appear on their plan. So on that PDF, when that PDF's printed out, it's all on there, that information as well.
Yeah.
So okay, right, finally, you wanted me to just show you the how it's automated, Janet?
Well, yeah, just the, I know you've touched on,
yeah,
you know, that, but I was just going to, there's, because of, if you just have the dashboard, say, then you can send messages, so you can send a forecast to a particular farmer, say he's got a problem with coccidiosis or something, and you're able to put a covering email, you know, sort of saying, you know, I'm attaching an article for you to read on coccidiosis or whatever. But on the actual organisation details,
oh yeah, that's it. Keep talking, you remind me.
Automatic service. There's a facility there, and this is where you actually, so if you go right down to the bottom, your automatic, automated service is ticked, and you've got an ability there to put a message in. Maybe you might have, because this will go to everybody in your farmers directory, a special offer on, I don't know, whatever, particular drug or something. You can put a message in there that they'll all get as well.
And that doesn't.
Or you might be having a farmers meeting or something, and just say, just to remind you, we've got the farmers meeting, you know, for, you know, on whatever date. So that's just a way of communicating with them as well.
And there's no extra cost per message you send, or limitation to the number of messages you send?
No, not on the dashboard. There is now you've got me on that actually, Becca. On the planner, Phillipa, there is a restriction on characters on the message board, isn't there?
Oh yeah, that's like a number of letters, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But
on there,
on here, no, nothing at all. And
but there's no price change.
No.
And that on the forecast, that directory could be your 300 farmers.
Yeah.
You know, you paid for the bundle or whatever.
Yeah.
Anything
that I've missed, Janet, or any questions, Becca? Sorry, I know it's a lot of.
I'm just thinking, I mean, you've got the visuals there, you know, so straight away you can see what's happening with the Matadirus and blowfly. Fluke obviously not parent. See these blowfly alerts, if you just scroll down there, you can see that whatever farmer you've got in grid 78 has changed from no risk to low. You'll see that appearing on your dashboard as well. And I can't think so. I think that's covered everything. You know how to check if your reports have gone out, and
just opening that alert. Trying to.
What, the blowfly strike one?
Yeah. Sorry, I think my computer's on a bit of a go slow.
So the alert, as well, I mean, the forecasts go out automatically, and we usually aim to publish as close to the first of the month as possible. But as and when the blowfly alerts are, because it's all based on data that this gentleman sends to us, an alert will go out automatically. It'll be fed into our system, and they're saying now that for this particular area, it's high risk, and that will just be sent automatically to anybody that's in that high risk area, which is virtually everybody now.
Yeah. There you go. You can see that for you. Yeah. And that's got your logo on it as well.
Yeah.
Which is good. It's really good. I think it's just a good cheat. So I see it anyway.
It's just a way, I mean, I use the expression probably cheap as chips, because it is. I mean, to just keep a constant flow going with all your farmers. To, you know, keep in touch with them on a monthly basis. Well, more than a monthly basis, because the alerts go out more than once a month.
Yeah. Okay, is that all right?
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
Okay,
I feel very
excellent.
specialised advice.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Um,
that's good.
really good. We do something. We do send out sort of monthly emails to our clients. We've got a big spreadsheet with everyone on, and so sort of doing. But it's
Mm.
just integrating it and progressing that forward, and the reports, those sorts of things. Just something whether that would tie in
Mm.
nicely.
Mm.
And it is just, it looks professional, it looks smart, and hopefully people will take bits from it, but just sort of the key bits as well. It's just, you don't want to bombard them, do you, with lots, but just those nuggets. I do
Yeah.
find they're often sometimes the best to kind of quick updates and get them to act on things. So it's no, it's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah, good. No, I agree. It does look professional, and it's just something that you know is going to happen without
Yeah,
you having, if you're busy, or
yeah,
and so it keeps it consistent,
yeah.
which they like as well.
It's
Yeah.
sort of relevant for them, because that's what we're missing, is that sort of, we're planning our sort of bits, but it is still generic in a sense of it's generalized for the area, or thinking, or you should be thinking about this, rather than this is an update for it, this is what's happening.
Mm.
It's just be interesting. No.
Yeah. And you can still do, obviously your practice newsletters, and kind of the parasite control stuff is covered with this. So
Yeah,
you can, don't, yeah. There's-
We're going to
Yeah,
develop
there's lots of ways.
because on the actual dashboard as well, where the fact sheets are, there's a leaflet about the pathway, but we're in the future we're going to design a template that you can use to send out to farmers in your farmers directory if you're having farmer meetings,
yeah,
so that you can fill those in and just whiz it off through your farmers directory.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, brilliant.
Good. Are you all inspired now? Back to sheep farmers.
I know, exactly. I think always looking at ways, it's just sort of best practice, best information,
Yeah.
trying to tap in with them, get them thinking of us rather than, going somewhere else for knowledge,
Yeah.
isn't and just the fact that the information is constantly updated, I think that's the real benefit of it. It's not just think about this, is relevant to you, which I think is much better significant. So
Yeah,
no,
you're right. They trust, the farmers that I know, they trust Nardis and they trust the information.
yeah,
And so to be linked in with that as the practice is a positive, isn't it? And it stops them going to the merchants.
I think,
And
yeah.
yeah.
And I think that, there's been so many products, like especially on the vaccine side, availability or not
Mm.
available, enable, or just differences of us sourcing it, that it's brought people back to us. You're just wanting to keep
Yeah.
them, or to think, actually, yes, you are there as well, which we probably, I think, lost through the pandemic, really.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So I think those sorts of things. So yeah, I'll definitely just need to work
Okay.
out a plan.
Yeah. And just tell Max he has to pay for it.
I
That's
know.
fine.
This is the thing, Philippa.
In fact, that's it. I'll text him now.
Yeah, that's it. Just say Becca's got. We use one system for bits, and it's not great. And this is what we've had issues with. It does do sort of everything, but I just not sure.
What is it? What do you use?
Press. So I don't know.
Oh, Vet Impress.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use that in
Yeah.
practice. Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
just I don't. Yeah, I find we've just had more problems than not, but that's required.
Mhm.
It's a different. It's for your antibiotic usage. That would be
Yeah.
something, but it's that's sort of bigger. But
Yes. That's actually, we're talking about that. Yeah.
yeah,
That would complete the package. Yeah.
But yours is already more user friendly than the Vet Impress.
Yeah, I
It has
agree.
massive difference. It's just the user friendability, if that's a word.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And that's
It's
what
clunky, isn't it? The other one.
it's so clunky, and it doesn't talk and you're having to link all sorts of different sort of systems together to get the answers you want, and that's why I was asking of sort of sign up and everything like that, whereas this is just bam, away we go, and we can use it. So I think for that, it's good. It's just helping me.
Yeah.
So
Good. Anything that helps.
I think really good. And it's just sort of, you don't mind paying for things, but if you want to use them, and that's what I'm just questioning with the whole Vet Impress, I don't feel we're utilising it for what it is really. And if there's better platforms out there, then this is great. So really helpful, and just to see the demo and everything. I think Emily's been bugging me. I don't know, you might have spoken to her. She's at Lutterworth and she's been talking about it, and I just not sat down. So this has really helped to sort of see it all. Our trouble is your email comes in, you look at it, and then you sort of glance over, unfortunately. So I just thought, right, let's see what it's all, and I can
that's fine. And if you want another one, we could on a something specific, we can do one, can't we, Janet? Like if you wanted to say, right, can you just show me properly how the resistance thing works, then we can just do that at any time.
Perfect. No, that's brilliant. Super. Thank you.
Okay.
I will it's good.
Feedback. Brilliant. Oh well, nice to speak to you. See you.
Thank you for coming on, and thank you, Maggie,
thanks.
for joining. And Maggie's no microphone, but thank you, Maggie.
No, really appreciate the time. It's been really great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Becca. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I think Maggie, are you there? Or were you having issues?
Maggie sent a message saying, "Hi, sorry, we don't have a microphone. We were interested in learning about the pathway. Sorry we're late. We thought it was starting at 4. What happens is the day before, hold on, one new message.
Oh, yes, still here.
Thank you.
Is there anything, right, so Maggie, just type a question if there's anything that you missed or you want me to expand upon. And if not, fine. And if you want to come on, and like I said to Rebecca, at any other time we can narrow it down. I think when you do an overview, it can, like, it's quite overfacing sometimes, isn't it, with all the information. Yeah, but then once you start using it, you do think, oh, I wonder if it could do that, or how could it do that, and that's when you get your
no questions for now. Need to play with it a bit, I think. Yes, because Maggie's got the subscription and the planners. So
trial it out on a farm and get it. Okay, no worries. Thanks Maggie for joining.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Right. Cheers, Janet.